the inner sanctum, the happy place. Hey everyone, Bill Astro here, and welcome to my studio tour. I won't be going through a lot of technical detail or anything like that, but I will be sharing a diagram towards the end which will show how I route my synthesizers, which I hope some of you find useful. Okay, so let's kick this off with the business end of the studio, and that's the software and the brains of the operation. I'm using Ableton Live 12 on the right hand screen, and on the left hand I've got another screen which I keep plugins open so I can see what's happening during a live take. And then as my main MIDI controller, I'm using Naturia Mini Freak, obviously using that as a synthesizer as well. And in the background you can see the DaVinci Resolve studio editor, which is really handy for editing videos on the fly. I'm using live, but in session mode. Let's take a swing around the room and have a look at the synths that I'm using. First up, we've got the Behringer Wave. It's based on the original PPG Wave. As we move clockwise, you can see I've got a rack there with the Hydra Synth desktop, and on the rack I've got the Behringer UB-XAD. It has a huge sound with the 16 analog voices. This next area is what I call the patch bay. On the back wall we've got a small rack with the Behringer Edge and a Behringer Crave below it. Moving along, we've got the Behringer B2600. I use the B2600 LFO outputs on the other synthesizers quite a bit. And here we have another DIY rack with the Behringer Toro on top, and then we've got a Behringer K2 in the middle, and at the base of the rack I've got a Behringer Pro 800. The Moog Matriarch, it's a highly playable synth and obviously has all the patch points, hence its location in the studio. Next up we have the Moog Grandmother. In my opinion, bang for buck, the best monophonic synthesizer ever made. Hovering above in the clouds is another Moog, the Subharmonicon. It's still close enough to be able to patch, but as you can see I'm trying to squeeze a lot of synth into one small area. I have a third screen above the patch bay area. Below this desk I've got a Hydra Synth Deluxe, and it's on a drawer so it slides in and out. I must say the Hydra Synth Deluxe is one of the most inspiring synths I've ever played. The Deluxe is where I generally start to generate musical ideas. It's really handy to be able to push the Hydra Synth back in to be able to get better access to the synthesizers on the back wall. Underneath I've got a random storage area where I keep things. And this part of the shelf is the final resting place for hardware sequences. And my drawer of shame, I'm sure we've all got one of these. If you have any suggestions on improving my cable storage, by all means please leave a comment below. Okay, so moving on, another little DIY rack for holding patch cables. Somewhere in the dark depths below you can see I've got a Yamaha subwoofer. This helps to fill the gaps frequency wise that the HS5s won't cover. I've got a couple of Sony MDR 7506s which I've been using for decades. I know them really well and I wouldn't mix without them. This pair is fitted with custom pad covers. Let's pop back up top. I'll go out on a limb and say the sequential form is one of the best value polyphonic analog synths on the market. It sounds huge. In the background I've got a Soma Labs Lyra 8. This one's DIY built. Moving along, the latest addition to the studio, the superb Moog Sub 37. I've had a few of these over the years. I kept selling them, but I kept buying them back. Below this desk I've got another slide out drawer. This is where I keep the APC 40. And from here I can remotely control Live 12, the hardware synths, any effects I'm using at the time, they can all be done remotely from here. really, really convenient. I always keep a bunch of notes for each track, making note of the different parameters I want to tweak during a live performance. If I don't write them down, I'll just forget. Sometimes I still forget. Built into the desk, I've got a couple of Behringer Ultra gains. I have 8 input channels each. They're connected to each other and also back to the Thunderbolt interface, providing an additional 16 inputs combined. My main interface, a PreSonus Quantum, virtually zero latency, which is really important for me. When I'm not making music, I sometimes dabble in astrophotography. Here's a photo of the Helix Nebula, which I took a few years ago, right here in my suburban backyard. I also chose this as my channel logo. You can see I've got the Mac Mini M4 Pro running Ableton Live. This provides master clock and sync for the entire system. To the right of that, I've got the Akai APC 40 and a couple of MIDI keyboards connected to a USB hub. That same USB hub will connect all my digital synths. And then I've got the Mac connected to the MIDI interface, the ESI M8 UEX. And that MIDI interface is connected to most of my analog synths. And the reason I do that is just to avoid USB ground loops, which analog synths are more prone to sometimes. And down the bottom you can see the PreSonus Quantum, and that has 8 audio inputs, and that's connected directly back to the computer with a Thunderbolt connection, and that's super quick, zero latency. The Ultra gains are connected back to the Quantum via ADAT optical cables. You can refer to the legend on the right hand side. That gives you a clear picture of the different connection types. So overall, it's a pretty simple setup, and it's really reliable, not only in terms of audio, but in terms of master clock and syncing. There's never an issue. It's always ready to go, and when inspiration hits, you can just hit record and keep going. So that about wraps things up. If you have any further questions, hit me up with some comments below. I always reply. Keen to hear your thoughts, and I'm keen to share any knowledge that I have. Thanks for joining in. Cheers.